Part 100. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 992. Chapter 992 D-Level Bounty Mission, Stone Gambling Boss. This had a great effect on him, Su-Chen. It's even possible, that with this top-notch technique, you can directly improve your strength to level B or above. Even, A level. And if he, Su-Chen, had the same A-level strength as a battle pet, the world would be so big that except for a few places, he would be able to go anywhere at will. I now have 4 A-level battle pets. Although there are no S-level pets, as long as I continue to accumulate A-level battle pets and participate in the killer competition later, I will have a high probability of winning the top 3. By the way, the system, the killer competition, what is the strength of the contestants? Su-Chen suddenly asked in his heart. Report back to the host, this can answer you. In next month's killer competition, among the contestants, there is one S-level killer, 5 A-level killers, and the others are B-level and C-level killers. The total number of people is 408. Hearing the system's answer, Su-Chen was shocked. There is actually an S-class killer. He doesn't care about killers below S level. After all, there is still a month left. He can continue to accumulate funds through this period of time to expand his A-level battle pet army. At that time, even if 5 A-level killers unite, they will not be a match for their own battle pet army. Then that S-class killer is a bit dangerous. Once you encounter him and make him unhappy, you may be in great danger. Forget it, it's better to raise your assassin level to C level first, otherwise, you won't even be qualified to participate in the competition. In addition, funds must be accumulated as soon as possible. Su-Chen made up his mind and continued searching on the D-level mission list. Early the next morning, he got up to wash up and have breakfast. Then he went to the target location of the second mission. This mission was a D-level bounty. The second most expensive item on the task list. D-level bounty mission, Stone Gambling Boss, bounty amount, 4.5 million. This stone betting shop owner is an immigrant from a southern country. But because my ancestors are from here, my appearance is no different from that of my native country. But the owner of the stone betting pit is very generous. After controlling half of the local stone gambling market, he actually wanted to reach out to the government, and then use the government's hand to control the entire stone gambling market. Then enter other markets. Because this person is ruthless and decisive. For his competitors and enemies, he will kill them directly. Therefore, no one in the world is afraid of this person. Generally, you can hide whenever you can. However, this person was so popular that he also attracted the attention of the government police. Because he finishes very cleanly. Therefore, the police will not be able to capture direct evidence of him for a while. However, I heard that he has restrained himself a little now. After all, his original intention is to enter the relationship with the government. If the relationship with the government and police is too tense, it will not be good for his business. This guy's current location is at the Stone Gambling Center in the east of the city. Su-Chen drove his Wuling Hongguang S and went directly. Generally speaking, targets like killing were not difficult at all for Su-Chen. But this mission also has a special requirement, which is to find direct evidence of this guy's crime before he can be killed. This made Su-Chen wonder whether this bounty mission was issued by the police itself. Otherwise, who would kill the enemy and specifically ask for evidence of the other party's crime? Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 993. Chapter 993 I'm going. Got rear-ended? Isn't this just taking off your pants and farting? It's unnecessary. But no matter what, one more special request is just one more trick for Su-Chen. The difficulty is still simple. In addition, the system prompts that this guy may take his own private plane to a nearby town at any time today. So Suchen deliberately drove his car to get as close to the other party as possible. At that time, even if the opponent takes off in a plane, he will be able to control his battle pet to defeat the opponent by virtue of his ultra-long distance control range. Suchen controlled the distance to about 10 kilometers. In this way, he would have a surplus of 90 kilometers. No matter whether the other party is flying or doing something else, he has enough time to complete the task. Besides, his current battle pets all have A-level combat power. There is no longer any concern about being captured by surrounding surveillance equipment. Therefore, even if he is 10 kilometers closer to the target, he is not afraid that the police will be able to find the flight path of his war pet. At most, this case is added to Suchen's suspected cases. Suchen estimated that he had accumulated 6 suspect cases with the police, instead of 7. As the saying goes, if there are too many debts, don't burden yourself, and if there are too many lice, don't bite people. He no longer cared if he was suspected by the police again. Anyway, as long as the other party doesn't find direct evidence that they did the task, they won't touch them. In this case, there is nothing to be timid about. Drive all the way there. Near a busy street, Suchen's car suddenly shook. I got rear-ended. Suchen looked through the rear-view mirror and saw a red sports car behind him. The shape looked very coquettish. But now it was the other party who rear-ended him. Regardless of whether it was a sports car or not, it was all his responsibility. Suchen saw that he had plenty of time now. The owner of the stone betting pit would not leave for a while. He was about to get out of the car and argue with the other party. Unexpectedly, the other party got out of the car first, and a young man in a suit and ties walked out. Wearing big sunglasses, he looked like he got a good deal. He came up and kicked Suchen's left door. How do you drive? Sudden braking on the road is looking for trouble, right? Suchen laughed angrily. Damn, this is a busy street, and there is a crosswalk without traffic lights in front of it. A pedestrian is walking on the crosswalk, can he just hit him? Wait for the pedestrian to go first. Isn't this the most basic traffic rule? What the hell is this? And actually looked like he was reasonable. You don't have eyes? Can't see any pedestrians in front of you. Suchen opened the car door and got out of the car. She pointed at his nose and said. The young man in sunglasses became even more enthusiastic. What the hell? How can you talk to me while driving a Wuling? Suchen laughed again. Not to mention that he has an army of battle pets with a combat power of a level. Ordinary people in front of him, no, even rich people are just like ants in front of him. In his bank account alone, there are tens of millions are lying around. He bought 10 of his sports cars. Suchen drives Wuling Hongguang's. This is because of his low-key nature. The other party thinks that driving a sports car means he is the only one in the world. Roll. Suchen blasted back. Then he glanced around and saw that there happened to be a traffic policeman nearby to maintain order. He waved over. Yo-ho! How dare you tell me to get out of here? It seems like you haven't been severely beaten by society. The young man sneered at Suchen. You are listening to novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 994. Chapter 994. The Grumpy Little Sister. Seeing Suchen calling the traffic police, the villain complained first, and went to the traffic police to make a fuss about Suchen. Suchen just stood aside with his arms folded and watched the show. The traffic police officer over there didn't just follow what others said. After coming over to see the scene, he said directly to the young man, is your full responsibility, is it private or is it through insurance? Ah. Am I solely responsible? It was obviously his deliberate braking that caused my car to hit me, and he wanted to compensate me. For a luxury car like mine, I have to pay at least 800,000 yuan. When the young man saw what the traffic police said, he shouted loudly. The traffic police rolled his eyes and said to Suchen, it seems that the other party doesn't understand what traffic regulations are. So, I think you should call insurance. Suchen didn't want to waste time with such a melon. However, at this moment, a young and beautiful woman stepped out of the red sports car in high heels. As soon as she got off the car, she attracted the attention of everyone around her. Damn it! So beautiful! Excellent! On point! However, what shocked the onlookers was that as soon as the young and beautiful woman got out of the car, she lifted up the young man's ears. You've got a lot of patience, right? I ask you to apologize to others in a good voice, why don't you just make trouble for me? The young man was lifted up by his ears, and suddenly changed from the state where he was just showing his teeth and claws, and turned into a little obedient cat. Sister, sister, sister. Tap, tap. My ears are falling off. Do you still know that you need ears? The beautiful young woman scolded. Then she brought her younger brother to Suchen, bowed slightly and said, I'm sorry, I am young and ignorant, and I have brought you trouble. I will compensate you for the full price of your car. Then he said to the traffic policeman on the side, I'm sorry, it was my poor discipline that caused trouble for the traffic policeman brother. Seeing that the woman was reasonable, the traffic police said a few words and asked Suchen to discuss compensation with the woman. He also asked Suchen and the two of them to drive the car aside first and make way for them. After the car was moved, in fact, Suchen's Wuling Hongguang S is very durable. After being rear-ended by a sports car behind, there was no serious problem. It's just that the plastic bumper at the back was slightly cracked. It can be repaired by going to a car repair shop for a few tens of yuan. Or just don't repair it at all. After all, it is a Wuling car, so it doesn't matter whether the damage is repaired or not. Without any damage, how can it be called the Qiu Mingshan sacred car? The other party's red sports car suffered more serious damage due to its low chassis. Most of the front paint was scratched. In the end, the young woman paid Suchen 1,000 yuan. Originally, Suchen's damage did not require any repair fees. But when the other party offered so much, Suchen would not be polite. He just picked it up and drove away. The young woman came to the car and scolded her brother while driving. Next time I see you like this, I will tell Grandpa directly that I will not peel off half of your skin. The young man immediately took off his sunglasses and begged pitifully, Sister, I know I was wrong. I will never deliberately make things difficult for others again. Don't tell Grandpa, otherwise I will be finished. The young woman sighed, oh, Grandpa has been in poor health recently. As a grandson, you don't know how to feel sorry for Grandpa, and you still make Grandpa angry all day long. The young man said quickly, Grandpa has a long life, as long as Nanshan Mountain. He is blessed by Guanyin Bodhisattva, Sanking Deist, Tathagata Buddha, and Jesus God. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 995. Chapter 995. Do you really think I have no temper? Hearing his brother's nonsense, the young woman rolled her eyes at him. However, Grandpa's old injury has recurred now, and as he is getting older, his health is getting worse day by day. Thinking that her grandfather would soon pass away, the young woman couldn't help but have red eyes. I have invited the top doctors at home and abroad, but they are still unable to restore my grandfather's body. Dr. Shui even said that Grandpa only has half a year left to live. What should I do? Seeing his sister crying silently, the young man as his younger brother could only sigh. After all, although medical skills are advanced nowadays, human lifespan is limited after all. Human technology has not yet reached the point where it can break through the lifespan limit. Grandpa is now over 90 years old. Even if there is no shortage of precious medicinal materials in the family, it will not improve his lifespan. Just as my sister was crying silently while driving. Suddenly, a white Wuling S drove past her. The sister was so frightened that she quickly braked. But the female driver was so anxious that she used the accelerator as a brake. The red sports car accelerated rapidly and directly mounted on the Wuling S in front. When the two of them came to their senses, the young man, who was his younger brother, simply said, "Fuck. It's weird today. Is our car connected to Wuling light bar? Wuling again." When the people in the car got off, the two siblings exclaimed at the same time, "It's him again." Suchen got out of the car with a dark face. Fortunately, the other person's car had a low chassis, otherwise he wouldn't have been able to fly away with this kick of the accelerator. He patted the other person's car door angrily. "Hello. Are you unconvinced? Deliberately looking for trouble? Do you really think I have no temper?" Suchen also got angry. "You were careless the first time, but you definitely did it on purpose the second time. To paralyze you, it was a red light, but you actually kicked the accelerator and hit me, who was turning on the green light. This was not intentional." "What? This is not looking for trouble." When the two siblings got out of the car, the elder sister looked at the street lights and then realized what she was doing. She quickly bowed and apologized to Suchen. I'm sorry. I was distracted for a moment and didn't see the red light. I'm so sorry. I really didn't mean to do this." The young woman looked at Suchen's Wuling, which had been knocked flat, and said quickly, "How about this, brother? I will buy you a new car as my apology." Suchen's car has only been driven for a few days. The other party wanted to replace it with a new car. Suchen thought that there was something wrong with this feeling. But the other party, who bowed and apologized, also took the initiative to replace Suchen with a new car. He was sincere. It is indeed full. The key is that the other party is a beautiful young woman. Even if Suchen is angry, it is really difficult to express it to her. Her brother, on the other hand, pretends to be silent. Obviously, he is attracted by his sister. After the warning just now, he didn't dare to talk nonsense. Suchen was also speechless. These two are really siblings. They both have the same virtues and walk without eyes. One rear-ended him and the other ran a red light. The key is that he was touched twice. On. Suchen thought that he didn't look at the almanac when he went out today, so he was a bit unlucky. Thinking that this way, the task of betting on the stone field would be impossible today. At this moment, the young woman's cell phone rang. "Hello, something happened to Grandpa?" Wait, I'll rush back right away." Immediately. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 996. Chapter 996 Changes. The conspiracy of the owner of the quarry. The young woman was holding her mobile phone and stood there in a panic, not knowing what to do. The younger brother said quickly, "What happened to Grandpa?" "What happened?" Grandpa him." The young woman started to cry after saying a few words. The younger brother was also anxious. "Where is Grandpa now?" In, right? In the stone betting field." The young woman finally remembered what happened on the phone just now. "So what are you waiting for? Go to the stone gambling den quickly." The young woman said with a tearful tone, "But our car just crashed, stalled, and can't start." Suchen rolled his eyes as he listened. "Wow! A big sports car actually hit my Wuling and stalled the engine. It was indeed not as good as my Wuling car." Then Suchen said, "Get in my car. It just so happened that I was also going to the stone betting field." "Ah! Thank you so much." "Thank you, brother." The young woman quickly boarded Suchen's car. The younger brother on the side also quickly smiled at Suchen. "Thank you, brother. Thank you, brother." The two of them got into the car. Although Suchen's car was flattened on one side, it did not affect driving. It just looked unsightly and the left door was not easy to open. But in general, there is no problem in driving adrift. At that moment, Suchen drove the smashed Wuling Hongguang S and drove towards the stone gambling den at a fast speed. Suchen was willing to take the two siblings. There were considerations. First, it was impossible for the other party to hit his car. Let them run away. After all, the new car that was agreed upon has not been paid for yet. Secondly, since everyone is going to the stone betting quarry, it is just a good time to use the two siblings to cover him. After all, they are going to see Grandpa, so this is Chen's act of helping others. It just serves as a cover for his true purpose of killing people on a mission. "Huh? Brother, why is there a mina in your car?" The younger brother saw the mina, the Battle Pet 4399 in Suchen's car, and asked curiously. Suchen said casually, "It looks strange, I picked it up from the wild." The younger brother looked at the silver spots on the mina that were very different from ordinary starlings, and nodded. "It is indeed quite strange. Silver feathers are really rare." Bago, who was originally talkative, didn't say a word after receiving Suchen's instructions. After all, too much talk leads to mistakes. Suchen didn't want to reveal too many of his secrets to outsiders. Even though the two people opposite him seemed to be insignificant. Ordinary people. The three of them arrived at the stone gambling den like this in about 20 minutes. Because the siblings were anxious to see their critically ill grandfather, Suchen, the good guy, went to the end and sent the person directly to the scene. At the scene, an ambulance has arrived. Several medical staff are doing emergency respiratory first aid on an old man on the ground. The sister and brother rushed over and shouted sadly. But the old man who fell on the ground had his eyes closed tightly. He was motionless and his face was as golden as paper. It was obvious that he had reached the end of his life. And an old housekeeper next to him also cried bitterly. "Miss, young master," the master insisted on coming to the stone quarry alone today, saying that he wanted to see off Hishan Bayu with his own eyes, otherwise he would die in peace. When he saw that the Hotan Bayu was bought by Boscow and loudly said that he would give it to foreigners, the old man became so angry that he fell to the ground. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 997. Chapter 997 100 million. Back to life. When the younger brother heard this, his eyes turned red and he said, "Hotan Bayu is Grandpa's darling and a national treasure. Grandpa finally spent decades tracking this national treasure from abroad, and finally helped foreign collectors sell it to China, but that damn Boscow actually wants to give it to foreigners again. This is definitely to anger Grandpa, they are seeking wealth and murder." The old housekeeper said sadly. "Master, besides these are useless, let's pray that I can recover." Suchen saw the old man lying on the ground. Suddenly his heart moved. "My battle pet Mimi and skill healing needle can cure all diseases. As long as his lifespan is still there, he can bring the person back. I wonder if this old man can." Just when Suchen was thinking secretly in his heart, several emergency medical personnel have given up their efforts. At that moment, he said to the old housekeeper and the two siblings with a sad face, "I'm sorry, we have tried our best. We all know Mr. Gu's health. His old injury has relapsed too seriously, and it has exceeded the burden on his body. Please forgive us, there is no way to save him." After hearing the words of the medical staff, the beautiful young woman, who was her sister, felt dizzy and about to faint when her vision went dark. As the younger brother, The young man grabbed the medical staff with red eyes and shouted, "No! Grandpa will not die. You must save my grandpa. You must save him. I have plenty of money. As long as you rescue grandpa, let alone 5 million or 50 million, even if it is 100 million, I will give it to you." The medical staff shook their heads and said, "It's useless no matter how much money you give us." Alas! The young man was still dying. Suchen's eyes lit up when he heard this. "Can you really give 100 million? Suchen suddenly said. When the people around heard Suchen's words, they all looked over. Who is this person? Everyone is dead, can they be saved by giving 100 million? If he can really save his life, then if Boss Ma has hundreds of billions, wouldn't he be able to live for thousands of years? This liar is really brave. He dared to deceive the Gu family without knowing his background. When the younger brother heard what Suchen said, he didn't care whether it was a joke or something else. He rushed over and said with red eyes, "Yes. As long as you can save my grandfather, I will give you 100 million, no problem." The old housekeeper was the only one among the three who still had sense. He came over and said, "This little friend, the young master is too sad. Please don't mind me. The implication is that there are still sensible people here, so don't think that we are easy to deceive." Suchen smiled slightly and said, "It's empty talk, but if you put down the evidence, I will save your grandfather immediately." Because he had just listened to the medical staff's explanation, Suchen knew that the old man lying on the ground who was unaware of his status was actually due to the recurrence of an old injury, which caused him to burp in advance. But the person is not cool yet, and secondly, with Suchen's current keenness perception, I can also vaguely sense how many years the old man's real lifespan is. That's why I dare to say such things. Otherwise, if the old man has really reached his lifespan, then he has the healing needle of his battle pet Mimi. I dare not boast about such a high cow. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 998. Chapter 998, Suchen is a liar? Activate healing needle. The old housekeeper frowned when he heard Suchen's words. In his view, Suchen was a bold liar who took advantage of others' danger. But now that they are talking about establishing a written document, the old housekeeper is worried that Suchen will tamper with the document. Just about to stop it? The sister on the side rushed over, grabbed Suchen's arm and said, "Stand. I'll stand right away. As long as you can save my grandfather, you can give me any amount of money." At that moment, the sister didn't doubt that he was there, and wrote a note on the spot. When the old housekeeper saw that the young lady had written the document herself, he could only watch from the sidelines. Seeing that there was nothing wrong with the writing, I had no choice but to give up. After all, it was clearly written on the receipt that only if Suchen saved the master could he get the Gu family's 100 million. If he couldn't be saved, no matter how hard Suchen tried to deceive him, he still couldn't do anything to the Gu family. The surrounding crowd of onlookers all stared at Suchen. I don't know if this guy is smart or stupid. Even the medical staff concluded that this old man of the Gu family could not be saved. How dare he take this hot potato? Hey, maybe I really have 2 brushes. Bullshit brush. I think it was an attempt to defraud, but someone saw through it, and now I can't get off the stage, so I'm acting. If you can't be saved later, just run away. Facing everyone's comments and cynicism, Suchen just laughed it off. After all, his method of saving people was too shocking. No matter how he explained it, others would not believe it. Even the more he explained, the more people would think it was a lie. The charlatan sorcerer. Anyway, the document has been laid down in black and white. When I save the old man of the Gu family, I will get 100 million, no matter what they say. At the moment, the A-level battle pet Mimi is secretly hidden in the cuff of his hand. He squats down and his body is getting cold. Next to the old man of the Gu family who came down. The two siblings of the Gu family looked at Suchen with tears in their eyes. They regarded Suchen as the only life-saving straw. The medical staff on the side looked at Suchen with complicated expressions. Young people, don't make any mistakes. An older doctor whispered to Suchen. After hearing this, Suchen smiled slightly at him. This confident look made the doctor a little surprised. Could he really save the old man of the Gu family? When the idea came to his mind, even the doctor found it incredible. After all, this not only violated modern medical techniques. It also overturned his three views for decades. How could I have such an idea? In front of everyone. Suchen used his right hand that contained his war pet Mimi to pretend to touch the old man of the Gu family left and right. Seeing this made the people around him frown. Especially the Gu family's old housekeeper and medical staff looked at Suchen and felt something was wrong. This guy is definitely a liar. The old housekeeper directly gave Suchen a frightening comment. Next, Suchen touched the old man of the Gu family's neck, back of neck and other places. When no one was paying attention, the battle pet Mimi hidden in the cuff of his right hand, he bit the old man of the Gu family on the back of his neck very quickly. Healing needle activate. The healing essence within it spread from the skin on the back of Mr. Gu's neck to his entire body, limbs and internal organs at an extremely fast speed. Finish these. Suchen put away his sleeves and stood up. He said to the Gu siblings calmly, "Okay. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion." Author, 7 years. Chapter 999. Chapter 999. This is simply a miracle of modern medicine. Alright. Everyone's eyes widened, and the Gu family's siblings also widened their eyes. They all looked at Suchen and the old man of the Gu family, who was still lying on the ground and still unaware of his identity. Why are they still lying on the ground, freezing cold? Is this a good call? Young man, your acting skills are too rough. Everyone sneered. The old housekeeper didn't want his master to be watched by irrelevant people. He didn't care about Suchen's pretentious acting at the moment, and quickly contacted the Gu family to pick up the phone. The master's body went back. Miss Gu's family looked at her grandpa for a long time, but she didn't see him getting up. She looked at Suchen and said, "Why hasn't my grandpa, wait, the old housekeeper sighed to Suchen and said, "Young man, I won't pursue this matter with you anymore. Please stop affecting the young lady and young master and leave immediately." However, at this time, the young master of the Gu family, who had been paying attention to grandpa's movements, also felt a slight shock like his sister. "Grandpa, Grandpa," he moved his fingers. Hearing the voices of the two siblings, everyone looked around quickly. Shocking, or something horrifying happened. They saw the old man of the Gu family who was lying on the ground and had been killed on the spot by the medical staff. At this time, he had 2 hands and 10 fingers. Unexpectedly began to move slowly. Then, the eyelids trembled. Then, the chest began to rise and fall slightly. The medical staff on the side could see it clearly. This was clearly a sign that breathing was reappearing. Impossible, this is absolutely impossible. How could a corpse that had been judged dead suddenly be resurrected? Immediately afterwards, the old man of the Gu family suddenly opened his eyes. After calming down, he actually sat up from the ground. The old man seemed a little confused. "Why am I sitting on the ground? Grandfather?" The young lady and young master of the Gu family threw themselves into Grandpa's arms with great surprise. The old housekeeper was so excited that he trembled all over. Surprisingly, actually saved his life. He looked at Suchen in great shock. The people around him even exclaimed, "Fuck! Resurrected from the dead. Miracle doctor. What a miracle doctor. Back to life. It is simply the reincarnation of a miracle doctor." Suddenly, everyone surrounded Suchen. Miracle doctor. Please show me. I have been feeling uncomfortable in my stomach. The doctor said that I have terminal cancer and I don't have long to live. You must have a solution. My son has leukemia, please help the miracle doctor. Miracle doctor save me. A medical staff looked at the old man of the Gu family. With the support of his two siblings, he stood up tremblingly and exclaimed, this is simply a miracle of modern medicine. The doctor next to him sighed, this is not a miracle of modern medicine, this is a miracle of this young man. Alas, is everything I have learned all my life wrong? Suddenly, all the medical staff felt that their decades of learning and three views were shattered. Suchen shook the signature signed by Miss Gu just now in his hand. Miss Gu and the old housekeeper said quickly, I understand. Miracle doctor, 100 million will be given to you immediately. Please provide your bank account number. Mr. Gu on the side asked puzzledly, what kind of miracle doctor, what 100 million? After the old housekeeper and the Gu siblings explained it to each other. Mr. Gu had also seen the world, and he didn't have much emotion about a matter that cost 100 million. You are listening to Novels at Bless Up channel. Wish you happiness and luck. How do you feel about this novel? Please like and leave a comment. Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 1000. Chapter 1000, is there any more royal method? Instead, he came to Suchen and bowed solemnly. Thank you to the miracle doctor for saving me. If the miracle doctor doesn't mind, please come to my cabin and let me entertain you to express my gratitude. Su Chen waved his hand, don't go to so much trouble, just give me the money. I have something else to do. The old housekeeper here quickly asked someone to call the bank account number provided by Suchen. Soon, Suchen's phone vibrated. 100 million was easily received. This feeling of making money is so exciting. In less than 10 minutes, he got 100 million, which was more efficient than doing a bounty mission. Suddenly, Suchen felt that it was really profitable to upgrade his battle pet Mimi to a level. People around him were thinking he wanted to stop Suchen and see a doctor for them. But seeing Suchen's indifferent expression, he didn't dare to stop him. After all, this is a living bodhisattva walking around the world. Who knows if he will ask others to save his life in the future? Of course I don't dare to offend. There are many jealous people among the people around me. But Suchen is not worried that someone will rob him. After all, unless an S-level killer appears, ordinary people who want to rob him will first, you have to ask him how many heads he has. Suchen is now a battle pet with 4 A-level combat powers. Even if he is facing a company of troops, he is not afraid. Things are done here, and the old man of the Gu family is over there. I asked the Miss Gu family for Suchen's contact information. Firstly, the Gu family was worried that the old man would appear in this situation again, so they could contact Suchen urgently. Secondly, it was because Suchen had found such a person who was not short of money. It's really not easy. After all, the price is 100 million, without blinking an eye, and the character is not bad. This kind of money-making object cannot be thrown away. This is to cherish customer resources. And when Suchen is here to treat the old man of the Gu family. Old Brand the Battle Pet 9527 had already taken Suchen's instructions and headed to the location of the owner of the stone gambling pit at an extremely fast speed. At this time, the owner of the stone gambling pit was leading his men to teach a man who did not understand the rules. A new Jade boss. This Jade boss just moved here from a city in the southwest. I originally thought that this would be a super first-tier city, not only with many people and money, but also because of its development. It stands to reason that the rules are very good and the security is good. So I opened a store here without many inspections. But just 2 days after opening the store, unknown people came to collect protection fees. At that time, the jade owner called the police. But nothing happened. I thought that the call to the police could not be made. It was directly interfered with. Later, the jade owner was beaten and admitted to the hospital, and the store was also smashed. The other jade shop owners just stood by and did not help. This made this man, the jade boss, immediately felt a thump in his heart. When he returned to the store, he originally planned to admit defeat this time, pack up and move back to his hometown. But he didn't expect that he was brought here again by an unknown person. He said that he could move back, but he had to pay a moving fee. When the owner of the jade shop heard this, his only good impression of the city was shattered. What kind of place is this? I moved back to my hometown by myself, and I still have to pay you for moving expenses? Who is moving? Is there any justice? Is there any more royal method? Online games, I really don't want to have unlimited fusion. Author, 7 years. Chapter 1001. Chapter 1001, Killing the Chicken to Scare the Monkey. If you don't follow the rules, this is the outcome. Unfortunately, his wife is also in the other party's hands. The owner of the jade shop could only kowtow and spend money. As for the owner of the stone gambling den, who was sitting in the main seat, although his subordinates were teaching this ignorant jade shop owner a lesson below. But his eyes were focused on the other jade shop owners sitting around. Yes, this time he went out of his way to condescend to deal with a small business owner from out of town, just to show it to other jade shop owners. Unfortunately, this small business owner from out of town has become a role model for other jade shop owners. The so-called killing the chicken to scare the monkey. This small foreign boss is the chicken. The other jade shop owners sitting around are those monkeys. The reason why the owner of the stone betting pit did this was entirely because there was something wrong with the recent rumors from the government. It seemed a little directed at him. This also caused the jade shop owners in the entire stone gambling den to seem to be ready to take action on their rule. Therefore, the owner of the stone gambling den specially chose this time to show other jade shop owners. Whoever dares to disobey the rules will suffer this. What the out-of-town jade shop owner kneeling below didn't know was the man with a sinister face sitting at the head table. Not only do you have to pay a moving fee yourself, there's still blood to be seen. Cut off one of your own hands. Only in this way can the absolute authority of the boss of the stone gambling den be consolidated. These days, there are really more and more people who do not follow the rules. In order to remind all brothers, I am going to talk about meat and vegetables here today. The owner of the stone gambling den said with a smile. The jade shop owners sitting around suddenly showed fear and intolerance. Yes, all the jade shop owners here understand what the stone gambling den owner said. What does open meat mean? It's to make the unlucky foreign jade shop owner kneeling below me amputate his hands and feet. But due to the lusty power of the stone gambling owner, everyone was silent and did not dare to say anything. In a word, the owner of the stone gambling den winked. Immediately, 2 boys grabbed the jade shop owner who was kneeling in the middle and held down one of his right hands. Then a 3rd boy came over and he brought over a cutting machine specially designed to cut jade. Seeing this posture, the jade shop owners who were watching all around showed unbearable expressions. And the foreign jade shop owner kneeling in the middle finally understood the stone gambling pit owner. What to do? He was so frightened that he cried on the spot and struggled hard. How could he have known that it would be so dark here? Not only were they going to cut off his money and drive him back to his hometown, they were also going to break his hand. If this hand is broken, then he will be useless in this life. Brother, I was wrong. I was really wrong. I will give you whatever compensation you want. Please spare my life. I have an old man above me and a young man at the bottom. Please forgive me, brother. Listening to the out-of-town jade shop owner crying and begging for mercy, the owner of the stone betting shop sitting in the main seat did not blink an eyelid. He sneered, begging me now? Late. You have to see if the brothers around you agree. If you don't follow the rules, this is the outcome. I heard the owner of the stone gambling den shout. The owner of the jade shop from outside was so frightened that his body became weak.